Again, we have, I think we're gonna have to wait. We don't have the quorum yet.
One more time, she should be ready to go.
Okay.
I believe she's on her way.
So we can start with the presentation. right?
Good.
Fantastic.
Good time.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for having me here today. My name is David Doe. I'm Chair and Commissioner of the Taxi and Limousine Commission. I'm here with our Deputy Chief, who is in charge of the entire Bronx. She is the commander of the Bronx. And so she is intimately aware of the ins and outs of the Bronx and what we need to do to support community boards like yourself. And then I also have Dylan Cepeda, who is our senior advisor to me, the commissioner. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Please have a seat. I want to first thank Chair Ambroise and District Manager Jordan and the board for having me here today. This is
Just one second. Now that I'm here, can we have a motion to approve the agenda before we start?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Wait a second. Second. Thank you. Go ahead, start.
Great. No worries. And so the Taxi and Limousine Commission is an agency that I think touches almost every community. Communities like the Bronx, communities like Community Board 1, where you all probably, utilize a variety of different transportation options, including for hire services, Uber, Lyft, green taxis, yellow taxis, and sometimes even community car services and livery bases. And so we wanted to be here just to really talk about, especially in busy corridors like this one, a little bit about what to expect, why the TLC exists, and how we can be helpful. So next slide. So how many of you have heard of the Taxi and Limousine Commission? Show of hands. That's great. Awesome. Oftentimes when I go to community board meetings, maybe a quarter of the folks raise their hands. And so it's amazing that all of you know what the Taxi and Limousine does. We have a variety of different departments within the TLC, including prosecution, which prosecutes drivers, the 200,000 drivers that we regulate on a regular basis. We also, have a TLC police department. We have an inspections called the Safety and Emissions, where every single year we inspect 80,000 licensed vehicles. Right? To put that into perspective, we're one of the biggest taxi and limousine commissions in the entire world. Yeah. And why I say that, right, is, the MTA does about 4 million trips a day. Can you guess how many trips the TLC does in a day?
Twice?
No, not twice. A quarter of the MTA. And so, but the MTA operates 24 hours a day, but we also move people. And we move people every single day so that they can get to their doctor's appointments in time, so that they can go to the grocery store. And in some places in our city, there is not a lot of access to the MTA. There are transportation deserts. And so where we fill that gap is some of the places where there are transit deserts. How many of you have been denied a taxi ride in the past? Yeah.
Never.
So that happens a lot, be it a yellow taxi might drive by you, or oftentimes Uber and Lyfts see people who use a wheelchair, and then they see per person in a wheelchair, and then they just skip out or cancel the ride. Or if you have a service animal, that happens often, and that's why the TLC is here to help, right? When there is a refusal, you need to report it to the TLC, be it through 301 or even to me directly, and then I will make sure that not only the prosecution team, but also the police department can also do undercover activities in which the deputy chief will talk about in a little bit. But throughout, the Bronx, have you ever seen one of those Crown Vics with Pennsylvania plates and then someone is sticking their hands out trying to grab one of those? That oftentimes is a bad ride. And I often sometimes say, don't get taken for a ride. And why do I say don't go into the hustlers or illegal cabs? Does anyone know why we shouldn't go into those?
No, you don't know what you're gonna get.
You don't know what you're going to get. And why? What I mean by that is oftentimes they are uninsured.
Right.
So your safety is in your own hands if you go into one of those vehicles. But more so, sometimes they scam you. Sometimes they'll keep your luggage and say this trip that is a mile long should be $100.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the case. And so you should always get in a licensed vehicle because we do background checks on all of our drivers. We do drug testing on an annual basis. We make sure they're insured. We inspect the vehicles to make sure the ride is safe. And if you see this often, that is why we have Deputy Chief Rodriguez, so that we're out there enforcing and making sure that our city is a little bit safer. And before, I think, okay, next slide. And so just a little bit of fun facts for all of you, and then I'll throw it over to the Deputy Chief. 18% of all TLC licensed drivers are based here in the Bronx, so they live here. And oftentimes I hear as I go to Queens community boards and even Staten Island community boards, I hear that there's a lot of complaints about drivers taking up parking spots, maybe cleaning out their vehicles in your communities. All of those things I think I need to know about because, and if they do it very often, there's a code of conduct that every single driver needs to follow as part of a licensee of the TLC and of the city of New York. About 17% of the FHV bases or about 3,232 cars are based here in the Bronx. How many of you use a community car service? Do you know about them? They're like called radio dispatches. They're sometimes in the corner. Okay, so which one do you use?
It still exists.
They still exist.
American Car Service.
American Car Service.
That's it, American Car Service.
American Car Service. So those are one of the radio dispatches, right? Community car services that typically for a mile to get you from point A to point B is about $12. And I think it's still $12. And so, those are bases that we regulate too. So yes, they still exist and they're a better option sometimes, right? Than some of the more expensive rides like Uber and Lyft. I think Uber and Lyft are way too expensive for me.
Agave. My mother used to use Agave.
Agave is one. We have Arecibo, Carmel, Dial 7. You all have heard of those, and they still exist. Let me see here. 13,000 licensed vehicles are electric. So we have a Green Rides initiative. By 2030, we're saying that all for-hire vehicles that are dispatched by high volumes like Uber and Lyft have to be 100% EV or wheelchair accessible. And we just crossed a big milestone recently where 50% of our yellow fleet is accessible. And across the entire fleet, 12,000 accessible vehicles so that people with disabilities can get to where they need to go. And so I talked a little bit about the EV goals, but that's a little bit about the TLC. And so I'm going to turn it over to the Deputy Chief to go through some of the Bronx specific things that she sees on a regular basis. Deputy Chief.
Sure. We ensure that New York is living communities free from dangerous activity by enforcing our vehicle traffic laws to meet our city goals of eliminating all traffic-related deaths and serious injuries, thus contributing to the steep decline in fatalities in the first quarter of 2025. Deterring the illegal operation of illegal unlicensed vehicles lacking safety inspections, as well as the proper insurance, is what we stop our unlicensed vehicles for. Drivers who endanger passengers, as well as pedestrians in the streets and other road users. So we make constant car stops, ensuring that in your communities, we absolutely stop license. We see illegal vehicles operating, we actually issue summonses for those. When we stop an illegal vehicle, we actually ensure that the driver has a proper DMV chauffeur's license, he's not suspended, and whether or not he's licensed by us. Sometimes you may have a licensed owner operating an illegal vehicle, but he will be given the proper summons because he's operating an illegal vehicle. So I want you to know that. You may get a licensed driver in an illegal vehicle. He might have just applied, hasn't been approved. Recently that happened to us not too long ago. That goes against our rules. He's trying to get approved, but he has to wait till he gets the license to actually work. So we joined over 73 interagency operations with MTA and NYPD to improve our quality of life since March 2024. Sometimes you may see on our bridges, sometimes we'll get funneled into one lane and we're actually doing a joint operation. And what do we look for? We look for plates that are not actually obstructed. We look for paper plates that may not be registered or licensed. We look for tinted windows. They're an unsafe act. As an enforcement officer, if I'm approaching a vehicle that's licensed or unlicensed, I want to see through that car.
Yeah.
You don't know if in the back seat of that vehicle, you have a person that's maybe holding up a driver. We have certain precautions in place. If we have a licensed vehicle, he shuts a trouble light. When I see that trouble light going off, I know what my operational procedure is to do, which is to contact the police department, advise them, we have a driver at this location, we approach the car as well, and take the necessary action. So I need to see inside that car. It's important,
Yeah.
especially at night. Those dark windows also impede their ability to see pedestrians crossing at night. If you're not wearing a color that's very loud, you may hit someone. We have now motorbikes, we have now mopeds, we have illegal cars, so it's important that we stick to our safety standards. One of those safety standards is how we employ our enforcement division, as well as doing our joint operations on these tasks. You may see enforcement in your community anywhere at Lincoln Hospital. Lincoln Hospital may be picking up passengers or poaching passengers and their illegal activity. Third Avenue Shopping District, which is exactly where you're at. So we come down this corridor, especially at night, you may see someone trying to get a taxi cab, especially at the train stations. Grand Concourse from 138th to 157th Street, and then 149th Street, Grand Concourse to Bruckner Boulevard Expressway Service Road. So those are major veins because of transportation services going from east to west, that you may see us more concentrated, but we do go in between the streets as well. What I did see today was that we have a new hotel right off of Park Avenue. So I took a mental note of that because I would definitely come here on a Saturday evening, which is one of the hours that I work, to see whether or not we have some illegal activity with our tourism. So that was me today, making a mental note of what I saw. Okay?
Park Avenue with.
Park Avenue off of 149th, it's right at Wingate Hotel just started.
Yes, up 130.
Yeah. When you make the turn right there, it's like a half a block in. I haven't seen that, so that's it's off of one of the major roadways as well. So it was a good mental note there. We've had 5 serious related crashes in this borough. Year to date on quality of life indicators. Committee Board 1's most common summons was passengers, trips by pre-arrangement only. So vehicle owners are given summonses if they're allowed drivers to pick up by non-pre-arrangement. They also are given a summons because we want you, when you get in a vehicle, to make sure that if you lose your luggage, if you lose your wallet, that vehicle we can track down through our business records and find your specific lost item and tell that owner that has to be returned either to the nearest precinct or to make sure that you get your goods back. That's why it's important to pick up pre-arranged fares, not hailing in the street, because you don't know what you have. Community Board 1's total summonses issued to date are 320. We have approximately 60 million pickups and drops off in the Bronx. And the most common complaint was governing stationary vehicles, double parked cars. You
I
need
do
to,
that all the time.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
you need your traffic to move, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's one thing I know is when I go into Manhattan, yeah, below 96th Street.
Why
yeah.
would let him?
Oh, well, okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
You want to finish, then we go to.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Oh.
quick.
So it's okay.
No, I just want to make sure that the time constraint also you don't jump off the
Oh, okay.
presentation.
Okay.
We finish, then we can move.
Okay, so the most common complaint is stationary vehicles governing. Okay, so it's double parking. It goes against the fabric of the city of what we're trying to do, which is move people in transportation. So that's the most common summons that's issued year to date. Yes, sir.
Oh.
Question?
Oh, yeah, I know it's why I go into Manhattan, because they don't allow nothing to, occupy them bus stops or getting away with, but you gotta get to the Bronx, it's a different story.
Well, you do have, bus only lanes. That
Yeah,
was the implementation of
no,
that.
no, talk about the bus stop, so the driver come and get, 'cause I
Oh, no,
know-
we don't allow them to stop in the bus stop. They're given a summons
The bus line,
in a bus lane, a ride bus lane, or be in a bus stop, either or.
of course,
If we're in this area,
Yeah.
sir, we will issue a summons. We would tell the driver to come over, go down further, because we need our passengers.
Mhm.
They may be wheelchair bound to get on the bus or to get to where they're going. So that stops the
Yeah.
what about the
problem.
bus line?
Yeah, the bus
Did
lane,
they pick up on the bus line?
they're not allowed to.
Well,
Not on the bus lane.
Huh? What?
A taxi cab is not allowed to pick up in a bus lane.
So you tell me on the street of 149, which is the bus line, right?
That's correct.
So if you have catching a cab there, where would you wait for the cab?
You would have to wait in an area where it does not say the lane is a bus lane.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but it run from South Boulevard to 149
I
Street.
understand.
So,
But you should look to the curb, to the corner of a curb, on the side street nearest to you.
Yeah.
Give the driver specific directions so that that continues to run.
I think there's a caveat to that in that so in major thoroughfares, right, and I don't know an example in the Bronx, but even in Main Street and Flushing where both sides are
Yeah.
bus lanes, you're not allowed to, the car can't even be on that road.
right,
But when and if there are two lanes of traffic,
Mhm.
there are, and Deputy Chief, forgive me, but there's sometimes pickups that happen as long as the driver makes the next right,
Mhm.
right? But they can't make a left, they can't go down 2 more blocks and then make a right. Otherwise, the summons will be issued. If they make the next right immediately, then it's okay.
another thing also that I'm just curious, the bike lane.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
You go on 138th Street,
Mhm.
you will see a LTL car lined up on, because I ride my bike
And we
every
issue
morning
summonses.
before I go to work.
We issue summonses
So,
for,
and I'm telling you, it's worse in the Bronx.
well,
The
I'd
bike
like to
lane is
jot that location
on
down.
138th Street
And-
from Brook
Okay.
all the way to what you call it,
The
Willis
Bronx.
Avenue.
Okay.
I do my ride. I ride my bike early morning before.
I will
You
ensure.
used to literally see a car park on the bike lane, and this is getting very common. And I'm not. Sometimes I don't blame them because there's no other place to park.
Well, I
The
will
bus
ensure.
lane on the bike lane.
I will ensure that the next time we do enforcement in the Bronx on 138th Street between Willis and
On Brook.
Brook Avenue, we will definitely ride.
Now my question: what's the provision you guys have for
It's a
those
music traffic
areas
law.
that do not have? I mean, because also that create also an inconvenience in the sense of local traffic.
That's correct. So that's
So-
where we issue our stationary, summons for impeding vehicle traffic law, which is a bike lane, an actual, bus lane. Those are our stationary.
And the
vehicles.
question would be, where were they supposed to stop to pick up or to do what they have
As
to
the
do?
commissioner said, if you hail and we're driving and it's a quick pickup and there's no impeding of the flow of traffic, of course, we're not gonna do enforcement. However, if you're stationary, waiting for someone and impeding the flow of traffic, and we've observed you more than 5 minutes, then of course, we're gonna issue a summons. So if the driver gets there 10 minutes before and is waiting for his ride to come, the best thing he has to do is be in an area and also inform you that he's at the corner of so-and-so, because at many times, you don't want to impede the flow of traffic.
What I would suggest that TLC does a video, educational video to educate the community, because what you're telling, we as a resident don't know that information. So when I walk out of my house, I'm hailing a cab. I don't care what I just need a cab to go where I'm going. Now, what you're telling me, you have the information, you keep it with you, between you and the taxi driver. We put them in a bad spot by asking them to stop and pick us up. Because if he passed me and go next block, I'm not taking him. He's supposed to stop where I am. That's what he used to be. So I think TLC should come out with some kind of a video, education that can pass on like a commercial once in a while to the community. And I've seen this in North Carolina, in some other state, where they do educate community in terms of how to manage those things. You guys cannot keep everything on the paper and expect community to know about it.
And that's fair. And that's something that we will do. and we'll work with your community board to also make sure that we educate not only our drivers, which we're very good at, right, but also the public component.
Right.
But again, I want to be clear: a quick pickup and drop off is not.
It's not a problem.
If he's staying there and blocking the bike lane, bus lane, or anything, or even a bus stop for an extended amount of time, that's bad for the entire community.
Of course,
It's
of course,
impeding traffic flow. It's impeding bicycles. It's impeding a bus pickup or a drop off. And so that's where the problem lies. And so this is a very sensitive issue. And recently, I passed new regulations around this very topic, but adding points to a driver's record. And they were very upset with me. And so they have 3 chances now before I give points, right? And so they need, if they pick up in a bus stop, pick up in a bike lane, the first time, no points. They might get a summons. The second time, no points. The third time, they'll get a points and an education course. And so, you know, I need to do a better job in educating the public, so I'll take that point.
That I can tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
What you all talking about? Years ago, you said what we call a designated pickup and drop off area for cabs. I remember that.
Yeah.
Was it Park Chester?
So there are taxi stands across New York City. If you see that there is an area where there should be a pickup or drop off zone,
Yes.
let me know. I'll work with the DOT. I'll call up Commissioner Rodriguez and make sure that there is a stand, right? But the second piece of that is an enforcement issue too.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I can make stands all across a busy corridor, but guess who parks in them?
But see, what happened back then,
Regular cars parked
what
in
happened
those
back then, the
spots.
reason why they had to designate on pickup and discharge, because the MTA bus service, I'm talking about the number 5 bus that they go down Story Alley. And then there was only one bus going across White Plains Road. Now you get 2, 36 and 39. I remember when they didn't have decent bus service in the Bronx. The reason why they have all this what do you call it, $1 cabs. I remember the days.
Dollar vans.
Dollar cabs.
Dollar vans.
Now
They have dollar cabs too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it's $3 now. Inflation.
Yeah.
well, they still got them out in Brooklyn, but they disappeared in the Bronx because the bus service in the Bronx. Remember, even the 3rd Avenue L was creeping downhill. I remember I was riding to school, way back there. But the thing is, getting back to your situation right there, is the blockage in the bus stops. That's the main issue. That's the main issue right here.
And also another thing that I don't know if anybody has a question, because Ms. Brown, you have any question?
No, not really.
Other than presentation,
I
you don't.
It's okay. I think we have a couple more slides, but I think you can read it on your own. You have physical copies. And then we'll also pass out Dylan's cards and my cards so that you all can have it as well. But
Appreciate it.
please.
No, another thing I was kind of wondering, kind of rushing to talk again. Go ahead. One second.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Deputy Chief, for attending. And so one of the things that we are also learning want to know more about is that how many complaints and how is the TLC having complaints regarding refusal of service or complaints as before Uber and Lyft and all those other things, there was a high concentration of refusal of service.
Yeah.
And how should we, and this FYI, our meeting is being broadcast live on our Facebook, YouTube page. Don't worry, you'll be best side in. So,
Sure, the blind.
but I wanted to add, I think it's this one here.
Yeah, the one in the middle.
One in the middle, yeah, we'll do it. And so I wanted to ask, how's the commission working to help combat that, because there are still instances of that happening for those who do use held cab services. If it's not, and 2 ways that happens. One, that they exacerbate a price that makes it sure that you are not desired to use that held service, or and then there's times where you're downtown taking yellow cab or other services that is something that usually happens. So
That's an excellent question. We at the TLC take refusals of service very, very, very as a high priority. This is something that if someone refuses service, we make sure that we not only issue summonses, but make sure that if they continue to do that, that they won't be operating a yellow, a for-hire vehicle, or any type of for-hire vehicle in New York City. And so, we, our complaints department processes thousands upon thousands of complaints every single year. 24,000 complaints in some years on just consumer sides, right? Then there's administrative summonses, and then there's the summonses that our police department also issues. That being said, right, the best way to contact the TLC is through 311. Refusals is one of the categories that you can report to through 311. What I need from you, right, is time, date, location, a picture if you can, and then sometimes, right, we're going to also need the complaining witness to also let us know about the issue, right? And so that sometimes you might have to testify, but today you don't have to testify in person. You don't have to be in front of the driver directly. You can call on a phone because we need all of those elements to ensure that we can win the case. And my prosecution department has an over 90% win rate on most cases, and so the more information that a complaining witness can provide, the better, so that we can win that case. Is there anything you want to add, Deputy Chief?
Yes. So when you do have a large volume of refusals that come in through 311, our enforcement division is also alerted. That goes through our chief of patrol. The chief of patrol then will contact the deputy chief on file and say, hey, we received X amount of complaints. When you're in that borough, when you're in that precinct, please stop by at that location and see if in fact you see those violations as well, which is refusals. And we will go undercover, decoy operation, so you will not know that we are in a marked car in uniform, and we will observe that location to make sure that passengers that are looking for cabs, licensed vehicles, are actually getting licensed vehicles. And if it's a medallion taxi cab and you're hailing and he pulls over and there's an exchange of information, we have a decoy on the street that will approach you, and then there will be an undercover vehicle that would stop the vehicle, and then we will then converse to get confirmation from the passenger saying that yes, he did say that he was not going in that direction. Confirmation positive, we issue the appropriate summonses.
And I'm gonna ask additional questions with that, Commissioner. In Uber, when you leave an item in the car and to retrieve it, there's an additional fee that's associated with the driver usually reconnecting you with that lost item. Is that customary? Is something that TLC sanctions?
Yeah, so this is the first I'm hearing about it. Is it officially in the app where?
It's in the app. That's something that you may be charged $10 to $20 for that driver to come back and bring you your item.
This is the first I'm hearing about it as a complaint. And, this is, I don't know the answer to that, right? And I think what you're asking me is something a little bit more complicated, is that, hey, should we be charged $10 to $20? And I don't know from a policy perspective what we should do through our regulations, but we would have regulatory power over that as well. Now, why I say why I say that
is a charge for like another pickup charge, like is that person's losing time bringing it back.
Sure. And why I say that, right, is $10 to $20 is things that I have to balance. Is a driver's time, right? And that driver might be in maybe Upper Manhattan by the time he is going to that next trip. And so if he has to go out of his way to deliver that item back, maybe it is in fact appropriate to compensate him. So from a policy perspective, I have to look at that and say, what does the community think? What do drivers think? What do the advocates think? There's a lot of moving pieces to every regulation that we propose. But, I think it might be
a percentage of what you pay.
It might be appropriate.
If you're gonna have a $15 trip, you pay $20 to return the stuff. I think, to me, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It should be a percentage of what you pay.
Okay.
That would be fair enough in saying that if you had a $20 trip, maybe a $10, 50% of that can compensate that trip. But saying that I'm gonna have a $15 trip, then you have to pay $20 to come back when I am, I think.
Yeah.
Or leave it somewhere I can get it.
And you
Somewhere
see,
you can get it, I think is more practical, because,
Yes.
because you were the one that left it in the cab. The
Right.
cabbie didn't take your
Yeah,
item
so it's like
and
a
hold,
favor.
so it's like, it's on your responsibility to get
understand
it
that.
back, so if, I
Yeah.
think it's not unfair for them to charge you a little something, that they're gonna go out of their way to bring it back
No,
to
I
you.
do wanna
But
charge.
I agree, $20 may be
$20
too
too
much,
much. I'm
but you
just saying.
should also have a central place,
Yeah.
like a lost and found.
Right.
Well, this is where we take everything that we can't
Then you
contact
go pick it
people,
up.
Yeah.
and you go
But
pick it up.
you see, like, and that's why we have public hearings as a process where our drivers, where our passengers, where our community can come and speak about many of the cases, and that's why I'm not always, I think, super forward and say, this is the position. That's a great idea. Let me go and
It's
write
always
up
a
the
gray
regulation.
area in those cases.
But things are controversial, right? So, while there are multiple opinions in this room, there's going to be hundreds of more when I propose a regulation. So it's complicated.
Yeah.
And that's why I said to the board manager that that while it sounds correct, there is a process still.
So, yeah, I'm sorry you had tough controversial questions, but if that went out there, just make you remember the Bronx. Next time you go over visit. But thank you, Commissioner. But my last question is, how should we use the one when we believe that our driver may be under some type of influence, right?
Yeah. So
I should report that. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, in instances like that, I think it is immediate public risk, and so you need to dial 911.
Okay.
Like you either text 911 in New York City or dial 911, but you need to have all the information, record that ride. So because look, it's to your safety, it's to other people's safeties, and it's also to you want your ride to be safe, but you also want the public to be safe and the next passenger. Deputy Chief?
Yes, by doing that, by calling 911, getting the plate number is important, and the location and the direction of travel and the type of vehicle, it might be a paper plate. So that's very important. Your safety matters to us, so you should exit that vehicle because he can be under the influence, or he can also be under, let's say, prescribed medication. There are many facets to this.
Right.
But the most important thing is that the general public is safe and you're
Right.
safe as a passenger. So that is the primary concern. So if you would follow what the Commissioner said, which is dial 911 and exit that vehicle.
Now, I have another question. What's the difference between the green cap on a for a regular? Because we see some out there with a green on it,
Mhm.
and then we have some that don't have no green on it.
Yeah.
Is there any difference between the two in terms of what they can do or what they should do?
So a black car is typically livery or for hire vehicle, and then you're talking about a fully painted green cab.
Yeah, it's fully painted green or somewhere painted green.
No. The ones that have the somewhere painted green are not street hail liveries, and they have to be fully green with the
Right.
dome light and all the accoutrements too.
What's the
Oh.
difference between the two?
Yes. So the green cabs allow you to stick your hand out in the Bronx
Okay.
and get that vehicle.
Yeah.
Any other time when you're sticking your hand out, that's a hustler or an illegal cab, right? Except if they're yellow. The yellow has the ability to pick up everywhere. A green has the ability to pick up in the outer boroughs, and they're called the outer borough taxis.
Yeah.
But we don't have enough of green in the Bronx. You can stay out there for hours. You want to see
Yeah.
green one.
Guess what happened?
What?
In 2015, the advent of Uber and Lyft killed the green taxi.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
So we literally don't have.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, so we can create licenses, we can create the opportunity, but if there is not a marketplace for the greens, then they're not going to operate. Where do greens operate? They operate in, I think, like downtown areas in the outer boroughs, like downtown Brooklyn, on Atlantic or even Flatbush Avenue, Queens Boulevard. I've seen some in Flushing, and then also the busy parts of the Bronx. I've seen them too.
But you can also use a curb and arrow if you have the app. You can also request any type of yellow or green taxi to your
What
location.
was the applicant?
Curb or arrow.
Curb?
Curb.
Yeah, it's in your presentation. And
Oh.
actually, there's a phone number there as well. You can call that accessible dispatch number.
I-
And it will also send a cab to your.
This is where I have a lot of problem with the city of New York. It's when we bring you guys in, we learn a whole lot. We wonder how many people in the neighborhood know attention to you guys know. So if you're gonna create policy, it's for yourself or for us. So you need to find the best way to disseminate this information. When we see all the TV is right there. So I think that the city in general fell on that part. And I'm sorry to say that. It's a lot of policy that we learn when we're in violation. We should not be that. You can't go before the judge is telling you something that you should have known. And this has to do with the sanitation and all these things. I think we should be spending a lot more time on commercial that are civic pay commercial to educate the community in terms of what we should know. Then we can well behave.
Yeah.
I think this is really, I found it to be really a problem that every time we bring a city agency in here, we learn a whole lot. Now, how many of us learning? It's just we're not being intent of the community.
Yeah, and that's why for even meetings like this, we're trying to go to multiple community boards, and I know community
The
boards.
thing that's not gonna help because you don't have the
right,
community
it's
here.
not gonna be everybody. But we've taken the initiative to go out so that we can learn more from our community leaders, like
Right.
yourself.
Right.
Right, about what the best practices are, how do we reach the communities that you represent, and then do that. Now, what you said TV and commercials multiple times. Resources are a big thing in all that.
We pay for the money when we're in
Money.
violation, we pay money in violation.
Understood. Understood, and there are limited resources, like I'm paying salaries for these two guys and 500 other people. I get your point. I think at the end of the day, we have an outreach team that we go to festivals, and we go to events, we do all those things. And TV commercials, like seemingly seem like they're everywhere, but they're very expensive. So we have YouTube channels that explain our rules and regulations. We have sometimes ads on social media, but TV commercials are quite expensive.
Really, to be honest with you, I have a difficulty hearing you saying that it's too expensive for the government, for all the waste that the city of New York does.
Fair.
I mean, I could cite many of them right now.
Yeah.
You understand me? So I think to me is education, cut down on some of those things that we're investing on, which is what we are not doing right. These are the basic fundamental. I think, let me tell you, I'm from Africa. You know what we do in Africa? Some of the countries, they do those things on TV. 15 seconds, they tell you that if the police officer stop you, this is what you should do, or do this, do that.
Yeah.
If they can do it there, with the money we have here, we can do much better than that.
All right.
I mean, education is a key to a successful a civil servant thing. So if you hold in information because too much money, so you rather will come and pay the city when you're in violation.
Fair.
We don't want to be in violation. So I think this is 15 seconds or 5 seconds.
Rarely can a
commercial.
passenger be in violation, but yeah, we educate our drivers through a 24-hour course, through every 3 years a renewal
But the
course.
policy change, the city don't, the community don't know the policy.
And so
change.
every 3 years, and so I get your point, and we can always do more. And again, I will look into TV commercials, but
PSA is a tax deductible.
we can do PSAs. They're free too. We can do taxi TV. We also have commercials in taxi TV. We have commercial in for hire vehicles. When you see the back seat tablets,
Mhm.
we put commercials in there too. Now, and so we'll think of creative ways
Please.
to educate the community.
I wanted to add one more thing, Commissioner, for you, though, because I know we have the minutes for time, that you, if you could just tell our team and all of us on our YouTube channel, because some of us also have the opportunity to, or not the opportunity, there are, when we're in supermarkets and other places, how dangerous it is to use non-livery or other drivers to, how that happens. So,
Yeah.
what does that, encouraging us what to do rather than using those services because of what that safety issues can
Yeah.
be for us.
Yeah, like I said, hustlers, illegal for hire activities that happen in almost every neighborhood, airports, really put you at risk, not only for your own personal safety, right, but also your belongings, right? They're sometimes uninsured, they're sometimes unlicensed, they're suspended, they might have a deep rap sheet, they might have a criminal record, they might be under the influence. You don't know that. With the TLC licensed vehicle, we check their background. We make sure that they're safe. We make sure that they're drug tested. We make sure that they go through an education course. We make sure that they renew, that they pay their insurance to keep you all safe. And so how do you make sure that you're in a licensed vehicle? It's pretty easy. Every licensed vehicle either starts with a Y or a T, right? A T for hire vehicles, a Y for yellow taxis, or it's the medallion, because we regulate the plates. But even more so, right, if you use Uber, if you use Lyft, if you use Curb, Arrow, or any of the apps, or call our phone number, you're getting a licensed vehicle. And so there are a variety of ways of knowing. Inside a yellow, they have to display their TLC license. Inside a hire vehicle, they have to display their TLC license. And so all of those things show you that they're a licensed vehicle. It is very risky when you go into a hire vehicle that is unlicensed, and I cannot recommend that ever. Deputy Chief?
Yes, the driver also has to have a valid chauffeur's license.
Yeah.
So going into a licensed vehicle, you're ensuring that he has a valid chauffeur's license?
It has to be displayed too. But the license has to be displayed.
Yes, that's the hire vehicle license.
Okay,
Or
what last?
when I say chauffeur, I mean the Department of Motor Vehicle license.
One last thing, this came up years ago. I remember when they used to have all these so-called drinking cabs running around out here, those dollar vans and so forth.
Yeah.
And basically what came up was dress code. We had drivers out there with shorts on, t-shirts and flip-flops, driving around. And then some kind of compromise was reached. Those be presentable. I remember that. Have a shirt on, well, that could button up, no flip-flops or sandals and so forth, cover up your legs and so forth. I remember them days quite well because they were stressed about sanitation, the hygienic issues, sanitation and so forth. I remember getting a couple of cabs and there were holes in the back seat on the floor.
Right.
And the driver told me,
I didn't pass inspection.
well, the driver.
It should have
There's a hole on the floor, it definitely did not.
One big hole. I saw the not just the ground, but also that I'm not on car expert. What they had down there, the axle, the turn down there.
Yeah.
Drivers tell us, me and my date, keep your feet up. Ready.
That's crazy. That's insane. It might not have been a licensed vehicle because I wish
That was then.
yeah.
Before TLC.
Okay, before TLC.
We can
Because
find
today, 84,000 vehicles go to our TLC inspection facility every single year. A yellow taxi has to be inspected 3 times a year.
Okay.
FHD also has to be inspected 3 times a year at a DMV location. Every 2 years at TLC. I want to maybe next time we can do this, we can share videos of the entire inspection process. But we go under the vehicle. We have what we call hits that shakes the vehicle, that looks at the axle, that looks at holes underneath the vehicle. We do brake tests. We do a variety of different tests to make sure that they are safe, right? Quick stops, things like that. Tires, OBD tests. We do a variety of different tests.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for sharing your time with us. When I started coming to the community board meetings, I actually started my career at SBS in city government. And there was a program to connect small business owners with people who are taxi drivers. So I'm not there anymore, but I'm working with DOT now. I'm just curious about any of the programs, if you haven't covered it, or any of like the priority list of where especially immigrant taxi drivers who need financial assistance, or whether that's like education, like our chair was saying, knowing what's happening, or if there's any like grant or loan programs out there. Yeah, I was working with Stephanie Toro. I don't know if she's still there, but I'm curious.
She was there. She left a few years ago. But that's a great question. You know, the TLC has expanded its portfolio over the last few years, and through city legislation, the TLC expanded into providing support for drivers, right? And why it was created because of the medallion crisis. As you remember, at some point the medallions were $1 million, and then they crashed because of the advent of Uber and Lyft. Or COVID-19. Yellow taxis had still not recovered today. They're about 60% recovered. And so we through city legislation, we built out the Owner Driver Resource Center, where we work with SBS, we work with DCWP to provide services for drivers, legal services, financial services. And so drivers can still contact the TLC, and we will help provide them and connect them with not only one of our team members, but also referrals to other services. But I would also want to mention a program that the Mayor Adams put into place to help yellow taxi drivers, right? Where we provided over $125 million to the yellow industry to help the small guys, those who own 6 or less medallions. And we provided over $470 million of debt relief to over 2,000 medallions now. And so that's the help with SBS, it's help with DCWP, the mayor's office, and a bunch of other elected officials to help us get where we are today. And so, and that is a fantastic question, and thank you so much for that.
Just a good question. Is there any pension plan for the taxi driver?
Oh,
Because really, and the reason I say this from the minority standpoint, the little guy out there with his TLC plate, coming home to cash every day. Do you guys have any program that can have them I'll use the word, and I chose that word, force them to contribute to a pension plan?
Yeah.
Because
Not forced, right?
This is really an issue that through the community, and I had to always talk about it. But when it's a voluntary thing, you don't find the importance of it until tomorrow. Either you get sick, you retire, and then your whole family suffer because there is no way. You become a baby in a family where you should have been, head of household as usual. So I think, do you have any program?
We're not in the business of forcing outside of TLC regulations. And why I say that is because we don't have regulatory authority in the charter to force a driver to put money that they earn anywhere. But that being said, we educate them about IRA programs. That every single year today they can put $7,000 tax-free into a program if they make under a certain amount, or that they need to contribute to Social Security so that when they do retire, that they can get Social Security benefits. Right? We don't force them to do all those things, but we provide financial planning. We provide financial assistance. We provide financial education to tell them that, hey, you have to start planning financially today, not only to pay your taxes, because most of them are independent contractors, right, with 1099s. And so at the end of the year, all of a sudden they get a tax form, and then they owe X amount of taxes because they haven't been contributing. And so all of those pieces are in our education courses to ensure that they have a basic understanding of what they need to do. But yeah, I mean, I think I know your position, and that's something that we don't directly do.
But is it? And the reason I say this is this, right? If you driving, I don't mean by forcing, but make it easier. Because at the courses that you offer, it's just 1 day course. Like you get a job the first time, you get into that class with the HR, they tell you about the company, walk out there, boom, everything goes out of the window because you know. But I think, to me, I think we should have find a way of having them some sort of way of introducing them to those by just
Yeah.
connecting them with, because
We provide them with lawyers, we provide them with direct financial help so that they can not only set up a will, so that they can transfer their medallions if they need that support, or.
how many on a medallion? See, you're focusing on the yellow,
Yeah.
but how,
No, well, anyone can go into.
on the green, in the city of New York, right? How many? Which one is the largest, the yellow or the independent contractor?
So FHV sector are the largest, but I was just giving you an example of yellows.
No, I'm just curious.
So it is 87,000 FHVs and then 13,000 yellows.
So really, the number outweigh the yellow. So then the focus cannot just be on the yellow.
Yeah,
because
I'm just giving you an example of yellows, but
Yellow's cap. Yellow's cap.
yellows are capped. But now also FHV is capped.
they can-
Yeah.
I'm just, I think.
No, I support all of my sectors.
Because I meet with them a lot in the community,
Yeah.
okay? And I always tell them about the pension, about the retirement and all those things. They say, yes, you're gonna pay $25 this week, next week you're not gonna pay anything. And then they end up catching up on you. That's what I think, that if there was some way of regulating their way, you check on the insurance, right? So that could be part of maybe some voluntary way of controlling that. That probably can force some of them to do so. I'm just, I think that would be the thing to do, part of the education. All right, so.
We're good?
Really, thank you.
Thank you.
Chairperson?
Thank you.
Thank
Board
you.
members?
Thank you.
Commissioner, thank you for your presentation. Our office, we have additional questions, my office will follow up with you and your team directly. And we thank you for bringing city services and government to the Bronx Community Board number 1. Look forward to your future presentations going forward. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, District Manager Jordan. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, board
Thank
members.
you.
Thank you.
This was really a really great opportunity to talk to all of you, and I thank you for the opportunity.
When you make a new policy, make sure.
I'm gonna tell you first.
No, I'm serious. It's really, we want to know before, we don't want to leave off,
That's fair.
problem.
So we can
So,
do a better job. I
please.
agree.
Dylan? Oh, I was just gonna ask if there were cards.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Let me get your call.
Thank you for having me. I'll leave them
Oh,
here.
good, good, great, yeah,
Oh, thanks.
wonderful, thank you so much.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Get all the good sides.
Very good, very good. Because I have to admit, especially after Uber came out, I never again used any kind of yellow
Can you
cab or
remember the
anything.
light? See, most of the
Yeah.
people in the city get the yellow cabs. Usually
So we're
we
gonna
get
move on our
the
agenda.
bronze.
Mhm.
Well, the way that,
Unless you get one from the city.
Sorry. We're gonna move on with that agenda.
yeah,
The street naming?
Yeah.
The street code naming, Patricia Clinton? And from,
There you go. Nice dress.
Thank you, sir. Hi, everybody. My name is Patricia Clinton, and I want to say thank you to the Bronx Community Board for having me here.
The reason for it.
Okay. I'm here, trying to speak up in honor of my mother. Her name is Tina Clinton. She just passed away, and I feel like, no offense, but the city fails her. The reason I can say that I have proof of that is because I'm starting off with saying that she had an asthma attack. I'm the one for the EMS for her. First off, they denied me from going with her to the EMS. Instead of getting the EMS for her, and then they told me she got to Lincoln Hospital. When I got to Lincoln Hospital, she was not there. You understand? When they told me that, first before they had me wait like 15 minutes, they were dealing with the rest, and I finally got to speak to somebody. She was not there. But I know she was in Harlem Hospital.
Okay.
When I got to Harlem Hospital, which is about, I took a 15-minute train ride, because I took a train, I had no money that day. You understand? Like, I had to go like 5 o'clock in the morning. Not to mention, that's when I called the EMS, that we having around 5 o'clock a.m. Or the school, they have that. When I got to Harlem Hospital, they had me waiting around. This is my first time going through a law, so everything. I'm kind of feeling this in my soul, something was wrong, but wasn't aware that exactly something was wrong. And then when I finally get to talk to somebody, which was like 25 minutes later, they put me in a room. I'm like, where's my mother? You understand? Like, she's been out dead. You understand? Like, so long story short. And it makes that, not to mention, she was living in New York City. She's from New York City. She did a lot in New York City. She's the people, the people from New York City. And like, everybody loved her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was more than a mother. She was a second mother to everybody who didn't have a mother. More to be honest. I could go on for days. You understand? Like, for my mother, as I say, like, I just want justice for my mother. I don't want anything else. I just want to honor my mother. I just want to put her name on the street because I feel like the city felt her. Because I got proof of that. Right now, my father, he's in the hospital. He was in the hospital before she passed away. He had throat cancer as well. You understand? The city just started getting him cancer treatment because the children got transferred back out there. So that's how I know that I have proof that the EMS failed my mother because of that. You understand? Like, her insurance wasn't out here. And so I said she moved, and that's where I'm going. Long story short, anywhere from Atlantic City to Philadelphia to New York City, my mother was worldwide. She was known as they call a goat. You understand? Like, everybody loved my mother. Like, she took cooking meals to anything she was known for doing, everything was volunteering. She didn't want no money, she was just a lady. That's what taught me how to become the woman I am today. You understand? Everything I do is volunteering, whether I donate plasma, whether I watch kids, no matter what I do, I got out the shit for my mother. You understand? So at the end of the day, I just want justice for my mother. You understand? I just want everybody to understand that she's really a good person. And to the next community board, if you know y'all granted, that will see that I can have other people come up and volunteer and also talk to my mother. That was the last minute thing today, because I'm going to extra prom tomorrow, and I'm going to boy. But my mother was really for the people. Like I said, she used to cook meals for the homeless in the school kitchen. She used to cook over 500 meals for free. You know, she used to like literally donate clothes. She used to clean the streets. She used to work for the sanitation. Everything was like for free. It wasn't no money involved, but everything was for the people. So when you speak on my mother, you speak on the community. You speak on the people. She was the people. You understand? And anybody who knew my mother would know that she was beyond herself. She gave to the people. So, more of the story, I don't want to sit here and spin a long speech or drag it out or make y'all feel sorry for me, anything like that. I don't want anything. I just want justice for my mother, and they're gonna stand. Understand? I have proof. I have everything. Like I said, my resources to the schools. Everything she did was for volunteer. You understand? Like, all I just want is just justice for my mother. Please. That's all I want. Because if the city failed her, they didn't give her. They didn't. I feel like they could have gave her CPR or anything because of her insurance being in Jersey still, transferring out here back out here. They failed her. So, you understand? You understand? And like I said, right now, as we speak, my father, to this day, he's still in the hospital. My mother passed away February 10th. Okay? My father's still at St. Barnabas Hospital in the nursing home right now. They just transferred my father from Lincoln Hospital to St. Barnabas nursing home because his insurance just got transferred out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's another proof of what I'm saying. All I just want is justice for my mother. That's all, please. You gotta understand. You gotta have parents. That's all I want.
Thank
I'm
you.
out here.
Thank you.
Thank
Where's the
you.
location? Where's the location?
It's actually Pontiac Place, right there's a little cut block between Jackson and Trinity.
Mhm.
And I don't know, you don't want to change the block. You could just add another name on the block.
I know
That's
that.
it. That's one justice, please.
Right, so the actual location of the
It's
street
Pontiac.
that we wanna name is
Pontiac Place.
Pontiac Place?
Yes.
Okay.
It's right across the street from PS MS5 Morris School.
Oh, you
That's-
talking about
Yes,
oh,
on Jackson
149?
Avenue. Yes, 149 and Jackson.
149, where
Where the gas station is.
Okay, so you talking about from 149 to Westchester Avenue?
Not exactly 149. It's
On
not
Jackson
149.
Avenue.
It's blocked over.
Okay.
It's literally a small street.
I understand
It's
that.
Pontiac Place. It's between Jackson and Pontiac and Trinity Avenue.
Okay.
But the name of the block is called Pontiac Place.
Okay.
That's all, please.
Okay.
Do you, Mr. Chairman, may I?
Go ahead.
Yes.
So did you bring additional, you had that additional documentation that you want to provide to the office, you provided to the community associate?
I have
Additional letters?
Yes, I have
And
additional.
original signatures?
Yes.
Can you provide it to the team?
Yes. And I have a question. Have you received,
Yeah.
email?
I can't, you got that sent to the board now,
I'm
to
sorry.
the board. So if you have emails or something like that, did you inform the staff that, who was it for, Stephen?
Yeah.
Mr. Stephen?
Yes.
So he's already gone today, so we have to research that and provide it to the.
Okay, because additional people had also additional documents as well.
Okay, yeah, I'm noticing some letters to Stephen.
Yes,
There's one by Roxanne Lawrence here.
Just provide the information to her and you can answer
Okay.
questions. If you have to
There's
provide
one
it to her
by
now.
Lawrence.
So, Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Go ahead.
So we will just, today we'll be doing any questions we have, and the board will take this up at a later time, but this is part of the policy is, as you know, the New York City council members, after this committee votes, and depending on what happens, it goes to the full board, if it passes committee, and then it goes to the council member's office for consideration. Our internal process is 150 signatures, original signatures, provided that the people who live in the immediate community will have to have no objection to it, letters of support from institutions that in the surrounding areas, and with a bio with showing significant contribution to the community. So right now, with the chairperson's request, we just have asking questions to the person making the request. Thank you, Chair.
Anybody have any questions?
I do. How long did she live there for?
My mom, I was born in the Bronx, so I was born in the hospital. So I was 32 years old. So she's been in the Bronx from the where she transpired to New Jersey, Brooklyn. She was world recognition. You know, like, but everywhere she went, she was doing stuff for people. Like, even my mother literally had that kid in his leg, and she was still cooking for people, helping people, anything like catering for older people, elderly people, like that was just her. You know, like that's my mother. Like she was one of those was one of the kind. You could think of somebody that was literally the best one you could think of you want, that was her. You know what I'm saying? Like she literally.
How long she lived in the CD1 facility?
I'm sorry.
How long has she lived in community 101?
8 years.
8 years?
Yes,
8 years, right?
8 years, going on 9. But for now, because back in the day, she was living out here as well. So it was back in the days when I was born, which is over 32 years ago. She was living out here. She transpired, moved around, and now she's back out here for over 8 years. So.
Okay, yeah, I just out of curiosity, first of all, my condolences on your mom. And, okay, yeah, I noticed this, she lived in Atlantic City.
Yes, Atlantic City.
Okay, but she actually
Yes.
was residing here in the
Yes.
Bronx. And that's my,
Yes.
just, yes, that's Pontiac Place and everything.
Yes, Pontiac.
Yeah, well, I hope that you do get justice one way or the other, and I hope you do pursue the proper case. I've read through I see the whole petition here of the signatures and everything. Sounds to me as if she indeed was an amazing person. Okay, thank you for the services that she offered to us, and hopefully she's resting in peace, and I hope that, yeah, definitely so, but you're right, it is sad. These are realistic situations that unfortunately happen, that should not happen. But maybe by starting to name the streets after these people, somebody will someday get up and say, wait a minute, this has to stop. You know, who is that person that passed away unnecessarily? So thanks for bringing this up. Okay.
I'm sorry, I got one more thing to say.
Okay.
Also as well, with the FDMI, I had to investigate into my mom passed away. I don't know if y'all are aware of investigations, how long they go, how long the process goes. This has been a long investigation ever. You understand? To the street, they still haven't finished investigating. Not to mention, I just forgot to bring up to y'all, I had to do an autopsy on my mother. There was no autopsy done. I feel like they're trying to cover up something. They're saying like no offense or anything. They're trying to cover up something because I mentioned to them, I know who the EMS from mother. She stopped me from getting the EMS for her. They said I gotta beat them. You understand? I know who called them that morning. Okay, so I had to meet her there. I said, why did you meet her? That's my proxy. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a link case. I get the link on, she's not there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she was not there. I get the link, I had to wait. I didn't get to know right away that she was there. I had to wait. So not to mention, when I finally found out where she was at, she was at Harlem Hospital. When I got there, she's been up dead. You know what I'm saying?
So the ambulance took her from the Bronx to Harlem Hospital.
Yeah,
when
that's what I'm saying.
Lincoln
Lincoln was right there. They passed Lincoln and they went to Harlem Hospital.
Is it where she usually uses Harlem Hospital?
She only go to Lincoln. Every time it's Lincoln. You understand? But no, what they told me was they still investigating. They're gonna do a photo of
full
they said that the
investigation.
photo, the full unit is doing investigation, so they're gonna give me that full breakdown of what they did and what was happening, because this is way too long overdue. It's been a couple of months now. I still have no answers. My mother been deceased. I still don't know exactly what happened. All I know, my mother left my house with an asthmatic breathing. I couldn't get EMS for her, and she could get she today. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention the night before that, she watched my kids up. Both my two babies, I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. She watched my babies up. We watched daddies together. Okay, I'm gonna know about the TV show. We watched the TV show together. Perfectly fine. That doesn't wrong with them. Okay. So what happened from the cause of my mother leaving my house, going to the hospital, and passing away. You know what I'm saying? I still don't have no answers. Like I said, I asked for an autopsy. I didn't get an autopsy. I don't know how long the autopsy was supposed to take. It's my first time going to do the funeral. You know what I'm saying? In general. You know, so like we actually do the funeral. So I didn't know autopsy was supposed to come before the funeral. I didn't know this. It's my first time knowing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I swear to God, it's my first
So
time
they're
knowing.
gonna have a body to do the autopsy. They have to have the body to do the autopsy.
No, they have my mom. They have my mom. But when I'm the first one who went to the hospital. I'm gonna tell you I went to the hospital. When I found out they announced my mother's day, I asked myself the master, they didn't do autopsy, so I don't know what happened. They said, okay. But they told me now I'm supposed to have some papers, but I didn't want to request for autopsy. You know what I'm saying? I asked them. They told me, okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole bunch of head games and runarounds. You know what I'm saying? It's all losing.
I wanna manage check the responsibility of the committee, so, if you have the papers, I want you to make sure you turn it about the original signatures to the committee associate, and then the board wants to be able to, vote. I'm gonna excuse you, then we're gonna allow you, then we're gonna, have discussion and vote on the issue. And then we'll reach back out to you by close of business on Friday on, what, for you, the date and time for you to come to the full boards, for what the decision is of the committee. Okay? So do you have the documents you wanna turn in? The original signature, petition?
I have a couple, but most of them is through email. But Friday I could have.
No, the original petition with all the signatures on it, the date.
Oh yes, you have them, right?
I make copies and then I give them.
We had when you turned it in, it was copies of a copy that she made, it wasn't original. If you don't have them, it's just better to come back to the office and speak to Ms. Leonard about it, another time.
Thank you. Oh, you have it.
You done? We done? Thank you very much, thank you,
Thank you
Diane.
very much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. God bless.
Thank you, good luck. All right, take care. Huh?
What you doing? Oh.
You know what I'm saying? What's happening? What's going on? You can turn it back off again?
Oh, please.
No, it's okay, leave it.
We don't want to.
Are you cold? Moment. No, I don't want you to get overly cold now. I'm getting ready to go to Alaska.
Oh, so I was there last year.
In August, I'll be in Alaska.
I went in August too last year.
Yeah, it's like 50 degrees there, right?
It was nice. It wasn't cold at all.
There's a
They wear
criteria.
none of my boots or anything.
Well, you do
A
need
light
like a
jacket.
light jacket.
Yeah,
is
light
what you need.
jacket. It rained a couple
I'm
of days.
I'm gonna go this year in August on a cruise.
I'm going to Venice, the Mediterranean.
Oh,
Florence,
okay.
Naples,
Yeah.
Croatia, and then we land in Barcelona. So
My sister just came from a cruise here. She bought me a lot of spices. I understand Tunisia has a lot of good spices.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she bought me a lot of nice spices.
I'll probably buy a few.
But I'm gonna do Alaska this year. Next year I plan to go to the Panama Canal.
It's not on my bucket list, but
Next year,
I'll go anywhere.
I'll do the Panama Canal next year. You'll go anywhere. But this year I'm doing Alaska. I haven't seen Alaska yet. I heard it's very
It
beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
It is.
That's what
What
it
is
is.
it? What it is? What you read so far?
See, when they rename,
What do we do?
Lance Avenue to, what's it called, Malcolm X Boulevard, and, Sylvia Avenue.
She left, she's still here?
She's gone.
Okay,
When they did that, the rule, they did under the old rules, they changed the whole.
so what do we have to do, vote first and after?
So according to our internal process, as I mentioned to our team, is, and then she was given, and to the chair, she was given, when she made the request, the inquiry, she was given our internal process, which is 150 signatures. According to our review today, is that the petition does not include 150 signatures.
No.
There's also requested that the signatures be original to authenticate the signatures actually came from
Individual.
this process from
Yeah.
individuals that live in the community. So she has not turned that in yet.
So, wait,
So-
let me understand, these are supposed to be,
Original.
Original.
It must be handed over to the office. The office is supposed to be in possession of 150 original signatures.
Original.
okay,
she-
not
she-
copies.
No, we make copies.
We make copies,
Okay.
but
But they should
so,
hold the original.
right, and so
Right, well,
what-
aren't these signatures I see here?
I'm gonna explain to you now.
Okay,
So my colleague received the petition, it's my understanding that it was not an original document, correct? It was exactly what we got, is what we made copies of, is that correct?
Copy of the copy.
Copy of the copy, is that my
Oh.
understanding? And maybe Diana could correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, according to her, the originals are with Steven. She left them with Steven.
So, well, we can check with Stephen gonna be here tomorrow, right?
So you're gonna be here
So we
tomorrow,
find
so
out.
we can decide if the committee wants to lay this over. But even if Stephen has the original blocks of
She doesn't have the
signatures,
numbers.
is that the number, is that?
She doesn't have the numbers, so we can't vote on it.
well, wait, what numbers, I'm confused, what numbers are you talking?
150 signatures.
Well, these are
150.
150 signatures
No,
here,
it's
aren't
not.
they?
I just
Okay, they're
counted.
not?
Every page is 15, right?
15,
Yeah,
There's 9 pages,
15
9 pages of
times six.
15.
not every page is full.
Not every page is, has,
Okay. Let me see, 30,
yeah,
Okay.
some
Hold on.
are not even signed,
45.
just the name that I
okay, let me see.
So it's not making, I just multiply it,
90,
120 something. on it.
90.
Is the agreement though?
See?
And there's some that don't have addresses.
See, this year are
I'm
blank.
counting them.
Yeah, so it's quite a few like that, so.
100,
You know, we had this issue in the past where people come in, they don't look the criteria.
It's not 100 pages.
We don't have a problem naming the street after somebody that done something in the community.
Yeah.
But you have to meet the
Yeah, there
basic
has to be
minimum
criteria.
standard.
Yeah.
There have to be criteria, because really, from what I heard, there has to be a lot of substantiated community, stuff to justify it. Because to me, the hospital issue or that does not justify that. Anything that happened with the ambulance or that,
Wow,
Yeah.
tragic.
Yes.
Wow, tragic.
right, with the tragic. But what I think the criteria that I know of is you have to meet that basic standard anyway. Minimum 150 signatures from the community. Because remember, somebody had signature from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know, coming in here. So we want from that community, 150, then plus the other issue, community stuff that is done in a community that can substantiate that.
And if I can build on what you're saying, Chair, the reason why is because this board, this committee has to prove to the city council, who has their own strenuous process, the bare minimum that we're asking for. So we're not asking for anything on top of what the city council votes on only twice a year to be able, where they will pull the family into a very public hearing and vote on the specific issue because it's a lifetime change. And so with the 150 signatures, with the biography showing a significant contribution and to the community, to the borough or to the city, with a notarized letter from each next of kin if there's a child with children, a child with brothers and sisters, excuse me, that they have no objection to their loved one being, which is the mother in this instance, being added to this process. and with other additional letters of support from community-based organizations or other institutions that the person that we were memorializing in this way is showing that they're agreeing with the community and the family that it was a significant community or city or borough contribution being made that should be memorialized in this instance. And so we, as a board, decided not to be able to remove from that process because we want to be able to make sure that one, that we have some kind of system together, and two, when I got here, that was the system that we decided to create, and two, that when a city council member comes back and says, you know, what is this recommendation, and what process does the board go through before making a recommendation to my office, because that council member has to carry this request into the Committee on Parks and Recreation, et cetera, for this approval, and then the full city council has to vote on it. And so and we have taken the time, Diana and I, Stephen, to work with this young lady and helping to re-explain, also put in writing this process and understand, unfortunately, like the chair mentioned, this tragic situation that happened to his family. Wanted to try to help shepherd this situation off. And so if the committee decides to lay this over, giving the family more time to put this package together, that is the will of the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I counted 136 signatures. It's not fully 150. So
Yeah, not fully. Even 130 is a lot of blank thing. But anyway, like I said again, my own personal thing is that my suggestion is that we really make this basic standard clear. That if somebody's coming for that, we give them that list. Say, hey, you must meet this criteria.
Yeah.
So they should know. I don't think they should come here the day of the presentation and find out the criteria.
Right.
So once they start requesting that, thinking about doing it. Once this office is aware of it, we should provide them a list that these are the basic criteria that you meet before you come in here. Then they prepare. Coming in here, I have to come back tomorrow, Friday, Monday, with a little piece of here and there. Imagine we have 5 of these a month. It's going to be an extra work to do. So I think if anybody come in here, my suggestion, let's make the checklist. You come in, we'll hand this over to you. If you want to make your presentation in September, when you come in presentation, check, hand it over to us. We go over that, will make the community easier for them and for us also. Because right now, she's going to bring that little piece tomorrow. Then we're going to, in fact, they're meeting in June, right? The city council meeting in June.
No, so twice a month. This will not be.
It
It will
will
back
not
up again.
So
Twice a
this is
month or twice a
It's
year?
September. It will not.
This is okay, since September. You see that? So whatever we do now is going to be for September.
Right.
I think that maybe if we present this checklist for them, they will be prepared coming in, and everything will move smooth. We don't have to keep going back and forth.
I want to remind the committee that we this is something we did, and we closely continuously met with her, I worked with her, and let her make her aware of it.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we get all certainty that she will be prepared tonight,
Okay.
and that is unfortunately today not the case.
Okay. So we got that. We got that. What you mentioned.
In writing on letterhead, it was sent to her, given to her in letterhead and by email.
I got that. But the checklist that you was mentioning,
Yes, sir.
you already got that set up?
Yes, it was sent to her and given to
Okay.
her verbally, in writing, and by email by multiple times by our team to let her know what the process
So I'll make a
is.
So why
motion.
was she scheduled to come then if it was,
She came today because she ensured that the team
that she had the rest of the
that she had the
stuff?
rest of the stuff available, and
Right.
tonight we found that you guys are finding out, and then that she is not prepared.
So maybe we should table this. We
Yes,
never-
yeah, I
I
agree.
make the motion,
Table
we table this
Let's table this.
to the basic
Motion,
plan.
motion, make a motion.
Make a motion.
I'll make the motion that we table this to the basic plan that's on that.
A second.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, okay.
I think.
Any discussion?
Well, I wanna-
In the future, I'm sorry, go ahead. Now, in the future, I mean, you guys, good faith, you gave her that opportunity, but at the same time, our time is valuable, as we all said, and your time is valuable, so there should have been a conversation I'm sorry you're here today, but you did not meet the requirements, so we're gonna have to reschedule, even before it came to us,
Understood, ma'am.
all right?
Understood, Chair.
To make it easier, let's make that list with a checklist where it's really, because, you know, what I think that the reason we're going through this, because we get this occasionally, right? We get this occasionally. If you do recall one that was here and I said something,
Absolutely, yes.
that one came to us, a lot of it came at the same time,
Sure.
and the emotion was built up. And I just say something that was, I mean, I didn't have anything, but it was misinterpreted and it came out wrong. I mean, it was seen wrong.
Yes.
So let's get that clear before it comes before the board, so we can avoid the emotional phase of it, which is something that we're all human beings. We live in a community. These are our neighbors. So we want to make sure we do the right thing for our community. Thank you.
I think that, aside from the checklist, obviously you need to meet, requirements, but there should be some sort of, like, from what I gathered from what she presented, like, I understand that it's tragic, but she didn't present enough, right, for, like, her mother's community impact, like, you know.
That's what I expect. I didn't see
Right,
that.
yeah, neither did I.
For her, it's like a quid pro quo, you know, they did this to my mother, so my mother should have this honor.
That's
you
exactly
know?
what I got out of it. I
Yeah.
thought it was because her mother became a victim of a wrongdoing of the city. Therefore, she should get the street called name. But I was still waiting to see whatever she did in the community that can be justified. That's a justifiable. Her mother did a lot of things in the community, helping people. But again, as a community, there's a way of presenting those things, which she has not done it.
Right.
So that is why I was trying to picture where was the community thing was really taking place. But the thing was an accident, the hospital, that's
But
what she should spend more time.
One observation that I made, that's what I'm saying, it says the usual residential state was New Jersey, Atlanta, in the death certificate. So
Atlantic
I don't
City,
see
yeah.
See, that's
okay,
another thing.
you
So
just see, I'm trying to figure out, now it does say,
No,
okay,
but on the death certificate, it says she lived in New Jersey.
yeah, well, it's saying the usual residential state, which I find interesting, it has the address of Atlantic City. Let me see, surviving spouse or partner, mother, parents, her son, I think is the one that lived here in the Bronx, on Pontiac Place. See that there's some very mixed up.
Visiting her son here.
Yeah, exactly, that could have been it, but the actual thing is that she really did not reside in this neighborhood, according to what I'm seeing in the death certificate. So I'm trying to look at concrete facts here, and that's what I was trying to get to. It has the full address
I see it here.
of her, so she actually did not live here in this district, in this neighborhood.
Right.
The
According
daughter
to
said
what
the
I'm
last
reading.
8 years, but you're right, the evidence.
Yeah, she said 8 years, but
8
you
years.
can come and live with your son.
Yeah, I think that's what she was. She was probably living with her children for a
Right.
while. So maybe shouldn't the place, the official place of a person's address, shouldn't that be the place
So
in
do
the
you-
street after her? That should be. So that means that it should be. If she lived in Atlantic City, shouldn't that be in New Jersey where they named the street after her?
I think that's what it is.
If she's not officially.
Logically, that's what
She
it
will
is.
have to come back here and clarify.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of, and that's why I was questioning somewhat.
She did mention 8
What I'm
years that she lived here.
Okay, so that means that for 8 years she was visiting her children here.
She ain't said no
See,
business. She ain't said business. She said living.
I think that's what she said, but that's not what I'm reading.
Yeah, but
On
if she
paper.
was logically, if she was living here,
Mhm.
the death certificate would show where she resides.
It's showing that this was
It's so
not her
funny
place of
that
residence.
it's Atlantic City address on the death
Mhm.
certificate.
Mm.
Because your last
I'm
residence
seeing
is
this,
what should
you know.
reflect on your death certificate, right?
Yeah.
But the last residence here is in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So there is
Mhm.
something that is not really making
But
sense.
that's why she got to come back. And she come back to clarify that what you just read. That's why I said take it. If you clear up all the misconceptions.
Right. Like, let's say she did live here, New Jersey address,
Mhm.
we still don't know the significant community impact
Yeah.
that she had
In the neighborhood.
in her
Yeah.
parents or.
Yes, to
She
do.
mentioned that she also helping now, she's cooking.
I get that. I'm not trying to denigrate her mother's contribution, but what I'm saying is that if we're gonna table this because of certain standards that should be met, there should also be standards met.
Yeah, to show what she did.
Right.
And I mean, we're
That's
saying
all I'm
that,
saying.
like we said, she had 130, I counted the signatures. It's 136, it's not even, the minimum criteria is 150.
Mhm.
We don't have 150 in the petition here, because I added up, I
There are a
counted
couple
them.
of things that are not really making really sense. Now, my question would be this. Now, if we're gonna bring her here, it's just gonna create another emotional situation again, which I don't think she already going through a lot. Mr. Chair, yeah. So,
Thank you.
Right. So what I'm saying here is that if we have to bring her here, we kind open another can of worms. That's gonna be, she's gonna be combining the city, combining us also in the community, which I think is gonna be very difficult for her to.
I agree, Mr. Ambrose, you're right. I want that from now on, before a person comes here to the table, all that paper and all that should be explained to them when they come through the door during the day.
They're ready to
And if they don't have that criteria, I don't think they should be brought before us to be, because, literally speaking, it's a waste of time for the person and for us for that matter. It really is. So if the reception sees that the papers and the requirements that were met before them has not been met, I don't think they should be here at all.
Okay, so
For this meeting.
there's a motion on the floor
Yeah, we
to
made a
have her
motion.
bring her back.
And we had discussion, so let's vote on the motion.
Yes.
Call the question. The motion was to table.
Yes, but under the condition, now that we are discovering that there are a lot more things.
Right.
So we can rescind the motion, right? Because if we retable this year, we discovered that first of all, the address on the death certificate does not show that, which is not, the number of signatures is not there. She did
So what
not-
you're saying is we're not tabling it, we're not even.
Well,
going to-
I'm
As part of the
thinking that,
discussion, you
Yeah.
just saying,
saying that really, if we're gonna table that, there's a lot of pieces that really
Missing,
has to
that are missing.
missing,
yeah.
and now I'm looking at her coming back here with the emotion and all these things.
Right.
Before a person makes any kind of presentation, all that should be in order.
Right, we already passed that stage that
Okay, yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't, we fell on that one,
Yeah.
so let's acknowledge that. But moving forward, should we, I'm just asking, should we move ahead, bringing her back in,
No,
or should be a
So that's what
clarification?
we're
If
voting
that
now, yes?
criteria is
We're voting
met.
yes or no on that.
if the
That's-
full
that's the vote,
criteria
that's
is
the
met,
vote.
yes.
That
If
is
the
what-
criteria of what's required is not met, I don't think we should bring her back.
Now, let me rephrase it again, because we are here for the record, right? How many of us feel that she had a substantiated reason to? I can, okay. Okay, let's do a motion. So should we bring, do we feel that she has enough, element to come back in to be put this back? Should we table it or?
Table. You only have to go, no, discuss, table it to.
All in favor of tabling it now, that's.
Table it to
Right.
speak the basic requirements.
How many people are in favor of tabling it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
I think,
How many nays? So the motion dies.
Okay.
So now you have.
So
to
we
have
can make
motion.
another motion.
So could we make a motion to vote on this now? Is that what the committee wants to do? Vote on it now, or what is it exactly? Now that we no longer tabling it.
Right.
What is the recommendation gonna be from the committee to the general board?
It's gonna
regarding
be-
this issue?
The presentation's gonna be.
That she did not meet the
didn't meet the
criteria, she
criteria.
didn't meet the
Move
criteria,
forward.
so we can't vote
we
on
can't
it.
vote on it.
So,
Yeah.
We can't move further.
That's why
You vote to deny.
That's why I said table it to the basic requirements.
Right.
make a motion to deny at present because of incomplete criteria.
And make it clear that we shared the criteria with her. Unless, I don't know, maybe if her mother has a
She was
story,
given the information, she just did not.
so it's on her to come back.
Okay.
Who seconded the motion?
I second.
So, any discussion, any objection?
What's the motion?
The motion is that we should just deny it, because she was given all the information to be brought in, she didn't bring them. The presentation also did not really substantiate the reason for streaming. Unless she turn around one of these and come back here and start it all over again.
But you guys are not meeting anymore this month.
No.
This year.
That's
Then
it,
we should
we'll have to
start.
wait till September.
Yes.
Right, so you deny it now, she gave it to us.
So we have finished discussion on the motion?
So we deny the motion, then give her the option to come back.
She's
No,
gonna
no,
call, she's
that
gonna
was-
call the roll call in your motion.
That wasn't the motion.
No, the motion was that she, as I understood it, Chair, anyone, and Ms. Burns, this is your motion, correct?
Yes.
The motion was to deny this request because she did not meet the minimum criteria of the board for consideration. That was the motion. It was seconded by Mrs. Cessa Brooks.
Quick question.
Is that correct? I just want to make sure the motion
Yeah,
is
that
correct.
was it.
Seconded by
Correct.
the
Seconded.
chair to call it
Quick question.
discussion.
You said earlier the criteria is, that's the city's criteria as well?
The city's criteria is yes. So we're not
We don't have
expanding,
extra-
we're expanding on the criteria. So can she call can she roll call the
Yes,
motion?
sure.
Mr. Ambrose?
No,
I'm sorry?
I said no.
You
No,
sure?
Yes or no? Yes, you agree with Ms. Burns
Yes, you
or
agree
no?
I agree,
So
agree.
it's a yes.
I meant by no on that, yes, I agree with Ms. Brown, yes.
You meant like no.
I agree with Ms. Brown, yes, I'm sorry.
Ms. Byrd?
Yes.
Cecil Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
You get RG?
This is
RG?
RG's visiting information. She's got
I'm
information.
considered
She's
visiting.
Oh,
the
excuse us?
committee,
Yes.
although I'm a board member that's visiting the
Okay,
committee.
okay.
So the motion passes then?
Motion
Yes.
passes.
So ain't new, let's name new business on table, we can move on.
So we have a visitor with us, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay, cool. She can,
Say this yourself.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I sprang up on you on last minute. My name is Ashley Santos. I work for the New York City Parks Department. I am the Community Engagement Coordinator for Partnership for Parks.
Welcome.
Thank you. I've been trying to reach you guys for the last couple of months. I know you guys had this office closed and stuff.
Now you know where to go.
Yeah. So if you don't know what Partnership of Parks is a unique public and private partnership between City Parks Foundation and New York City Parks. And we support and champion the community's volunteers to activate more parkland and local green spaces. And how we do that is provide tools and help them out with their projects, such as beautification projects through It's My Park applications, as well as training, grants, and stuff like that. We also help out with dog runs as well. So if you know anybody that's interested in activating any local parkland spaces or interested in wanting to start a dog run community group, which there actually is one trying to start up a dog run.
Where?
Pulaski Park.
Pulaski, yes.
Yeah.
Don't we have a dog park in?
You do have a dog
St.
run.
Mary's?
Yes, you do.
And there's
Yes,
one
you do.
back there somewhere. I can't remember the street.
A lot
I
of
believe
dogs
St. Mary's
now.
is the only one that's in CV1, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I'm
Oh.
not mistaken, I have to
In
double check on my notes, but
CV1.
I'm pretty sure it's just St.
That's
Mary's
the only
that has-
known one.
That's the only known.
That's
Well, known one.
It's in CV1
Yeah,
anyways,
that's the only known one.
Yeah.
That's another district.
That's a different
That's,
district.
yeah, it's,
We're neighbors, but
Yeah.
they're not actually our district.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for the Yolanda Garcia Park in Melrose. They're close to the district, but they're not actually in our district.
Yeah, right?
The Yolanda Garcia Park belongs to, I think, District
Four.
3. 4, right?
Yeah.
It's District 3,
March
yeah.
three.
Let the ladies.
Yeah, okay.
I believe it's 3.
Mhm.
And Kuzan is CV4.
Mhm.
I think the other, not sort of close by, is Fox in
Mhm.
CV2. That also has a dog run as well. So if you know anybody that's interested in volunteering and wanting to activate more local spaces, I am the go-to person for CV1, 2, 3, and 6.
Do me a favor, I would like, could I get your full name and
Ashley
number?
Santos.
Ashley Santos?
Yes.
You get
Okay.
six, we got 5 community boards and couple of 6.
Say again?
You call it 5 community boards in
Four.
Bucks County or 6?
Four.
Four.
Fours.
Okay.
I am one out of 3
Oh, wow.
communication coordinators.
And your
yeah.
number of contact is?
929
929.
771 5208. I got it memorized.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, neighborhood group can take over the city park and run them so that they do in Manhattan. Some neighborhood group took over that park down there, 20-something street.
Are you talking about like adopting a park?
Yeah,
Or creating career services.
a conservatory.
Yeah.
Conservatory,
Yeah.
Like creating
but
conservatory, but
that-
that's
that-
way above my.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's way above my thing too.
Now, as far as the volunteers, and I'm asking this because, like, for example,
Mhm.
I notice we have a lot of youth,
Mhm.
and some of them throughout, like now the summer coming up, would like to volunteer, and perhaps the parks are recruiting them.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's volunteer, but they're getting paid directly from the city, from that city youth program. I also noticed that we have some majors, like I know at Hostess Community College, there's a agricultural major there. And you've got some kids who love the outdoors, who would love to come and volunteer.
Well, actually, CV1 has some good friends group already.
Mhm.
There's Friends of St.
But that's what I'm
Mary's.
saying. I'm wondering, are you a good person to call?
Yeah, and
For
I
those
think we got them.
Okay.
So weren't you friends with St. Mary?
But
Friends of St. Mary's is one community group that's been pretty active in the last couple of years.
St. Mary's Park, that's 37.5 acres.
Yeah. South Bronx Unite is also a good community partner that works along with us. And there's actually a new group that just formed this year, Creole College Prep.
Yeah.
And they did a cleanup last week actually at Patterson.
One last thing.
what is
We
it
did a
called?
cleanup at
Creole?
College Prep.
That park on 138th Street and at the beginning of the Grand Concourse, the one that goes on from 138th Street all the way down to the river, to the Major Deacon anyway. I remember who got that area and put the lock up. I remember as a youngster going over there and even lunch tables in there and people were sitting there and cooking everything. All of a sudden they closed up. And
I wouldn't know. Usually maintenance does put like locks up to kind of close the park up, or if there's a couple of things that are quality of life issues, and then so they change it all the time.
Because they used to be the last stop for the Grand Concourse bus. It made the U-turn right there, or that little circle right there, made the U-turn, then went right back uptown. That
Okay.
was it. It was only one bus.
Actually, what volunteer positions? What would the volunteers do?
Whatever they would like to do, whether it's doing a general cleanup, planting, they could do paint jobs as well. If like a retaining wall needs to be repainted, or there's any like murals on the ground that needs to be repainted, they could do weeding as well. And then there's also PEI projects, which gives them a little bit more freedom to do more like art projects or just stuff that just is more social for the community and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay. That's good.
Thank you.
What are the 4 community boards?
Yes.
That I work with,
Yeah.
so there's CV1, 2, 3, and 6. So
Oh,
basically
okay.
districts 8,
Three,
13, 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I basically deal with the whole entire South.
Well, it's funny, Friends of St. Mary's Park, like this is the second time someone took over the Facebook account, and we're all like, people are trying to figure out who's running it, who's sharing this and that, because I guess they're also getting involved with like the local politics and the election. They've been posting a lot of things about like, this person, that person running for office. But that aside, when we are able to get together for a cleanup or an event, I think there is a lot of powerful, unity, that gets something done, and it's a big park, it's not Central Park, but biggest in the South Bronx. Anyway, I would love to figure out what's happening, because I think that one of the new organizers moved out of the neighborhood. And I don't know what kind of support there is if we have residents who want to make something out of that group.
Yeah, Brittany Ron, who's the group leader for Friends of St. Mary, she's always open to having more volunteers join that group and to come out and help clean up and stuff like that. So she's willing to take in new recruits and stuff like that in that Friends group.
Is there any funding? I don't know, like support, like food or a space, anything that your team could give for that group?
So we don't deal with food because it's a whole different thing, and it comes to when it comes to vending and food and handler's license and stuff like that. So we don't, and we personally can't sell on public property and stuff like that. When it comes to friends groups, they want to give away some stuff, that's on them.
Yeah.
And things like that. But when it comes to the agency, then we can't really give out anything like that.
And last question for if it's okay.
Sure.
For newer parks, like the new dog run at Pulaski Park, that's literally in the middle of all those new buildings and so many dogs over there. It's interesting. What kind of support or what resources, ideas are there if there's like a new friends group there, maybe, or I don't know if it's a nonprofit or people who want to organize cleanups? Are there tools? Is there
Yeah,
any
so-
staff members?
I'm sorry. So
No.
we do provide the tools when it comes to general cleanups: grabbers, gloves, trash bags, painting as well. We provide brushes, rollers, 9 inch, 3 inches, and the paints that are obviously already approved by the agency, like Central Park Green for the benches, for example. Like we provide all of that: black, white, masonry gray, battleship gray, all that stuff.
Who would
And
some?
for the friends group the dog group that is just in the beginning stages of trying to figure out where they want to place that dog run. Pulaski Park is where they talked about it, but then they're still going through the beginning stages with like capital and stuff like that when it comes to funding and everything.
Mhm.
So they're still in their very beginning stages of trying to see which area could be turned into a dog run.
Because there's a mixture of transportation, DOT and
parks,
parks.
yeah.
And so have to be very careful where who has people. Some agencies are very territorial. So we have to be mindful of that because the reason why some things are DOT because there's some equipment or machinery or some sort of stuff that's there, and we and I say territorial because then the Parks Department may have some responsibility for cleaning up, and DOT may have different responsibility. That's different insurances. So all those things, and this is why her position is very important because her job is to referee and police.
Yeah,
that and
I'm basically
right.
the middle person
The middle person
between
to connect
the
that.
public and the agency. Yeah.
To make that happen.
Any initiatives in terms of dog cleanup? Because we have a real big problem with dog poop.
Okay.
Mhm.
We certainly did, and the environmental committee, we brought that out also.
Yeah,
Very good
it's,
point.
it's horrible. It's just
Well,
horrible.
they got a pooper scooper law on the book, but
Yeah,
that's
but
not getting
It should be
enforced.
enforced.
It's not.
In other words, I guess to supervise that, is the Parks Department working to provide more poop bags in areas in parks to encourage dog
And
owners to clean up
signage,
behind
and
themselves?
signage.
Well, there is signage
Well,
when you enter into every
Well-
park and playground and stuff like that.
But is the Park Department considering maybe adding those stations that house the bags? And we see them all in different
yes.
parts of the community, but whether or not in
Not-
areas especially where there are parks and where there are dog specific parks to make sure that folks clean up. We understand in talking to Commissioner Aponte, we know that in dog parks, the volunteers are responsible for maintaining, keeping it clean,
Yes.
et cetera, doing improvements
Yes.
and so on.
Yes.
But we know in city parks, unfortunately, people nowadays also go fairly loose. Dogs with all sizes, even though we know there are rules to curb your dog, or dogs that even allowed in places where, especially if they're vicious of a certain size. So, but is the I guess the added building on the members ask is the Parks Department not only encouraging signage but poop bag stations so people can be able to be encouraged to clean behind a dog. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. That's something I'll have to ask. I could ask the regional manager around if they are.
And we're willing to
implementing
advocate
that.
to the city council to raise funding if that is the cost is associated with a council member maybe paying for that they place around parks, because the community board, not only around parks but throughout the entire community, are extremely concerned around poop everywhere
Yeah,
And this part of the Bronx, added with the sanitation garbage and all the other type of things that compound in the area. The minimum that we want to do is either have more enforcement in parks or be able to, in addition to provide opportunities for these type of stations or that hold these bags so that people are encouraged to plant behind their animals.
Yeah. Well, the Parks Farm does have an enforcement department, Parks Enforcement and Patrol. And if you want to make 301 complaints about the poop that's going on, the poop issue that's happening in local spaces and stuff like that, parkland spaces, you could always report to 301 and they could try to see if they could give out citations and stuff like that. I mean, I can't speak for them themselves, but that's generally what
they're there for.
What they're there for, yeah.
We don't have this stuff.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, so any old business? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All right. All right.
I didn't ruin anything.